Hi everyone, Adrian here, and welcome to Wild Bush and Grit. So this video is focusing on how to get lost in the wilderness. I don't know how that sounds, but I think it's a probability, and I came to term that to know that one day I will be lost, and what is going to make the difference is whether I'm prepared or not. So it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when and how. There's a few steps that you can take ahead in advance, of course, not to get lost. And I'm taking all the precautions necessary to not get lost in the first place. But luck sometimes turns. And to me, the way to deal with it is just to simply accept the fact that it's part of the wilderness experience. Okay? So how do I get lost if I ever get lost? Actually, I did get lost a couple of times, but not long enough to be rescued or actually to even spend the night. Everything that goes through your mind at that point, there's a lot of things that going on, and know that you are going to be your worst enemy. Okay, don't be afraid of bear or mountain lions or whatever. No, you are your worst enemy when it comes to this, being lost in the wild. So first, your anxiety will kick in. You will make poor decisions. You're probably ill prepared, and fatigue will set in. You will not have good nights. You will be restless. A lot of things will race through your mind as you're panicking and you're losing confidence of being fine one day. The cure to anxiety is knowledge. In every aspect of life, almost. It's when you know how to do or how to go around something, usually your anxiety will lower. The very first thing, no brainer, every time you're out there, especially alone, this is like number one hard rule. No matter how geared or experienced you are, you need to let other people know where you're going and what are your plans, and do not deter away from that plan. Otherwise, if you do, make sure that you leave a huge sign somewhere where people can find it and know what happens to you and where are you heading. Because, depending on the circumstances, you might have to move. Who knows? So let's talk about some essential items that you need to have with you. So besides your, normal navigation tool that you need, GPS and all that, there's some other stuff that you also need to carry with you. You have three things on your mind, okay? The first thing is shelter. The second thing is water. And the third thing is food. Honestly, food, you don't need to worry much about food, but you still need to worry a bit, but not much. Technically, your body can go up to 3 weeks without eating. That's good. One of the most important things is actually water, depending on the climate. In some climates, you probably would want to have shelter before water, but let's get to it in a second. Water, here, Quebec, man, we're so lucky. There's water everywhere. But the only thing I need to carry, though, a metal bottle like that will help you, gather some water and have it boil. If in winter, you just grab some snow, boil it, and you're done. But how do you boil it? You need fire. To me, fire comes to two things. You need good tools. In one of the previous video where I explained my knife system, my favorite all-purpose tool is the small hatchet, and I also bring another knife with me here. A lot of things that I bring with me, I'll have double, okay? Batteries, GPS, cell phone, knives, how to make fire. Bring a lighter, a simple big lighter. Like, I know a lot of people love to use like fancy technique and bullet drill and stuff, but it's not practical. It's good to know how to make fire out of nothing. That's definitely, don't get me wrong. But if you carry too big, too lighter with you, that's fine. Then you can bring maybe a ferro rod and some tinder material with you to actually help making your fire. But bring your favorite way of making fire with you, and make sure you double it with something else. To me, it's a wick, okay? A big lighter. About making fire, prepare yourself. Learn to make fire in all sorts of circumstances. Making a fire in your backyard on a dry summer day is very easy. Try to do that in winter. Try to do that while it's raining. You'll see the level of challenge changes completely. And I'm saying this because I run into similar situation trying to make fire in winter. and the amount of tinder and small, like the little kindle that you need needs to be 2, 3, 4 times more than what you will actually need on a dry day. It's it could be discouraging if you don't know how to make fire. The amount of energy you'll put in to gather all the element that you need, you start making burn, it start and you're happy, and then all of a sudden all your fire die because your bigger logs are not catching fire. This can be distressful. So learn how to make your fire. You need to gauge how much actual wood that you'll need, and only experience will teach you that, because your circumstances are different. Are you exposed to the winds? Are you in a cold weather, dry climate, wet climate? This changes everything. So make sure that you're comfortable making fire in all sorts of circumstances. So to me, for shelter and fire making, I like to carry a small hatchet like this. I have it in this is a knife sheet that I bought. I modified it a little bit, removing the plastic casing that was inside, so I could just drop the handle of the small hatchet, and this goes onto my belt. And on my backpack, I also have another cutting tool here. This is a Gardberg Moro knives. Whoa. This is carbon steel, great knife. I love it, super sharp edge. So this allows me to create fire and to build a shelter if needed. The shelter is very important, even if your climate is pretty good. Alone in the woods, in the forest, or in the wild, in the wilderness in general, at night is scary. Okay, you don't see at all, and you start imagining things, you start hearing things that you can't see, and yes, your anxiety level will rocket to the roof. How do you go around that? To me, it's baby steps, right? Baby steps. You need to be comfortable first to be alone in the woods during daytime. Okay. What I would suggest is go hike alone. What I would suggest is go camp alone. And you'll see that at night when you're camping, that as soon as you enter your tent for sleeping, you'll feel already much safer when you're in a small enclosed space. That's purely psychological. Of course, you're still hearing things. Of course, you still know that outside you're, in the wild. But just the fact that you're kind of out of sight and hidden in your little tent, you already start feeling a little bit more secure. So to me, this is why if I ever get lost in the woods somewhere, and even if the temperature is good, I still probably would want to build a small shelter. So at night when I crawl in, I feel safe. And the idea of feeling safe at night is to also have a good night, right? Like you want to be able to sleep well, and in the next morning you wake up almost fresh and ready to survive another day. If you have a restless night, the next morning you're super tired. This is where poor decision making gonna start, and it's not good. And of course, bring a pack of rope. I like paracords. Virtually weigh nothing. Throw that in your backpack. If it's not handy, that's fine. You just carry some extra weight, a bit more exercise. If you do need it at some point, you'll be super glad to have it with you. And along with the paracords and the knives and the axe, what you can also bring with you is some emergency blanket like this. This one is a small one, but you have various size. And they're actually great. You can use this to actually build your shelter and isolate you from the element. So this is also, again, weight virtually nothing, and you'll be glad to have that in your backpack. As stated previously, so you can go 3 weeks without eating, but I don't recommend you to wait 3 weeks before you start eating. So if you're lost, water, shelter is covered. You can make, how you have a good fire. Now you can start looking for food, and even if you find food before water, it's not advised to actually eat without water. So even if you do have food, keep it on the side until you find water. If I were to stay for a longer period of time, what can I eat? And I don't need to know all the plants in the woods to find my food. To me, where I am, northeast of America, my outdoor diet, so to speak, revolves on very simple parameters. So balsam fire, maple tree, they're everywhere. and caribou moss. And for the trees, what I'm actually looking for is the cambium. The cambium is a thin layer that is between the tree trunk and the bark. So if you peel off the bark, the first layer that you'll have, which is actually quite tender, is the cambium. And this is what I'll consume if I ever need to eat in the wild. If I can find some caribou moss also, that's what I'm gonna go for. And about the food that you can forage in your area is going to be very specific to your localization. As I said, you don't need to know all of them. You just need to know a few. The more abundant one, I would say, I would start with. But there's one important factor to consider here, and is to have your organism, your body, your digestive system used to that. Okay, you could be allergic to something and you don't know. You know that plant is edible, but you never tried it until the day you're getting lost. You eat it and then allergy reaction. You're not in a good spot. Or you have diarrhea or vomiting, you're dehydrating yourself, and this is bad, especially if water is scarce. Me, what I do is like I highlight the caribou moss, the balsam fir, and the maple tree cambium, and I will eat them occasionally. I have trees here in my garden that from time to time, like in spring, for example, the new growth on the balsam, I'll just eat some of those. When I'm hiking, walking, and I see a balsam fire, and there is they have like pimples on the trunk. I will pierce one, grab some of that resin, and I'll just have some here and here, so my body is used to these, and they don't see it as foreign something. And I know that I'm not allergic to it. So one day, if I need to eat some of it, it's not going to be foreign. My body will know what to do with it. I recommend you do the same in your area. Know the few plants that you can eat and try them little by little and keep on trying. So the day you'll need them, and your body will not have any strong reaction. Oh, and the actually I forgot, it's maple, balsam fir, and the birch tree. Birch tree can actually give you lots of water, lots of water. So that's if you know how to harvest it properly, you can drink sap from birch. That's pretty good. Of course, you can fish. This is why if you have the paracord, you bring some extra hooks with you. I'm sure you can dig some, find some bugs, hook them up, and start fishing. You're probably gonna catch something if you could catch some stuff if you're lucky. So lights. It's always interesting to have light source at night. I'll have a small flashlight that I'll keep in the front pouch here, and this is like extra. And I also have a frontal headlamp, and I'll carry extra battery as well for these. The most important stuff is really not to stray away too far from where you are. You have people knowing where you went. If you start moving and you're like 10, 15, 20 kilometers further away, it's getting harder and harder to find you. So find a good spot near the location that you actually communicated, and build yourself a little camp and wait for the rescue there. What would constitute a good spot? I would say an open area. Like if you can find in the wood like a little opening among the trees, or like some place that is actually open. So if people were to fly above you in a helicopter or plane looking for you, an opening makes a great place to be. Make a fire. You can throw in that fire. If you hear a plane or a chopper, you can add dry, wet leaves in the fire to actually make some smokes. So the smokes is going to be visible at to a certain distance. Make a smoky fire can actually is a good idea. So if you have to move, what I will suggest to have with you is some trail tape. Usually in hunting we use trail tape to mark where we were when we took a shot on an animal, because sometimes you'll shoot the animal start running, and you have to find it and you have to fetch it, right? So we will mark where we were, we will mark where the animal was shot, and then we'll try to follow the blood trail. And as we follow the blood trail, we're gonna leave some a little piece of trail tape high up in the air, so it's actually visible. I like this one because it has high visibility, but it's also reflective. It has a reflective band color on it, so with the flashlights, if you shine your light, it's super visible. So highly recommended to have with you at all time. This, and you can mark your trail. So in the event that you're not finding where you wanted to go, at least you can come back to where you were and rethink your strategy. We have horrible sense of direction, and it's something that we need to learn over and over and over and over. And I've run myself, well, maybe I shouldn't say we, but I have. I'm sure some people are better than me here in this area, but like, I have a terrible sense of direction in the woods. Like in the city, yes, I know my bearing, I can navigate, but in the woods, all tree looks alike, and that's a treeist things to say maybe. Walking in straight lines in the wood is harder than what most people could think. You will naturally veer off your path. I challenge you to be in the woods somewhere with no specific landmarks around you. Drop something on the ground, walk straight in a line 50 yards, 50, and come back 50 yards to the same spot that you were, and you will see that you are not walking that straight. At least most people are not walking that straight. If you can do that at 50 yards, that's pretty good. Now you do it at 100. If you still do it at 100, do it at 200 yards. And if you can do that, you're a pro. You are a pro. And very few people are able to. I'm not able to do that. Like past the 70s, the 100 yards, that's it. I will start veering left and right. One trick is, we have a tendency to go around obstacle on the same direction. So let's say there's a tree trunk. You'll go around the tree trunk, and as soon as you pass that tree trunk, you'll have slightly veer off in a direction. And then to the next obstacle, you'll do the same veering off and off. And this is often why people actually work in circle. One trick that I'm trying to put in practice is to mindfully go left and right, like to alternate how you go around an obstacle. So if there's a tree, you're going left side of that tree. The next one, you're going on the right side, left side, right side, and this will help you actually steer in a straight line. You don't want to be out there alone with your anxiety skyrocketing. You want to be out there, make yourself comfortable, and you know what? When the rescuer comes and find you, you'll be able to greet them, have some tea before you all live together. Wouldn't that be a great story? That's the day I'll get lost. That's how I hope it's going to end. Like I'll be sitting at a campfire, pondering of my lives and how I came to here, and then I heard the chopper. People come down, sits around the campfire. We share some tea or coffee, whatever, and then after a good chat, a good laugh, we hug each other, and then we go back. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it and kind of makes sense. By no means I'm an expert. I'm sure there's way more things you could do, to be safe out there. Don't stop your research here. Continue. There is tons of things that you can learn and bring. But to me, this is my level of preparedness that I'm comfortable with, and accepting that one day I'll be lost, but not completely lost. All right. If you have you got lost ever in the wood, please let me know in the comment. I want to know how that went for you. What are you doing to get prepared to get lost? What is your training? What is your routine? You have good tips to share, please enter them in the comments. We're here to learn, and I want to learn from you, and other people reading the comment also can learn from you. So that's it. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.